Hey guys, it's MaleficYugiTuber here, coming at you with my second video. This one is actually going to be a deck profile. It's my first one, so please bear with me. I'm going to do this video in two parts, so I'll record this part in its entirety, and that'll be me showing off the deck, how many copies of each card I have in it, and then if you guys want to stay tuned for part 2, it's actually me playing the deck, me showing you that it can win. This is actually an Exodia FTK deck. It is kind of similar maybe to ones you've seen, but of course with the 2013 ban list we lost Super Rejuvenation, and then I can't remember if Pot of Avarice was banned before that, but anyways, it's banned now. So you can't use those two cards, and so you've got to change it up. In this case, I think it's actually a favorable change where it might not have been able to make it better without those cards, but it at least made it so that it didn't lose any of its potency, which I like. So without further ado, I'll just go ahead and begin. It'll be hard for me a little bit just because it'll be upside down. So obviously, if it's an Exodia deck, you have to have the pieces of Exodia. Mine are kind of random rarities. Some of them are ultra rares and stuff like that. One of them's from the remake of Legend of Blue Eyes, so that's pretty good. Two are actually. The ultra rare arm and the ultra rare leg. Next, you're going to have 3 copies of the Blue Eyes White Dragon. Then you're going to have 3 copies of White Stone of Legend, or the White Stone of Legend. Then 3 copies of Thunder Dragon. That's an old school card right there. Even comes from the retro pack, lol. Excellent. So 2 copies of Royal Magical Library. Now in the previous deck that I didn't do a profile for it, but I had 3 copies of this card. It was a very different deck, but the same basic concept. I ran 3 copies. I liked 3 copies because there was something like a 60% chance of drawing one in the first hand, which is the bomb. But this deck, I'm only going to do 2 copies. You guys can fool around with it, take out what you think you won't work, put in what you think will work. Then you've got 1 copy of Blue Eyes Toon Dragon. Okay, now the rest are spells. There are no trap cards. This is supposed to be an FTK deck, therefore, since you've got a set trap cards, they're too slow for this deck. They slow it down. So you've got 3 copies of Into the Void. Watch part 2, I give a very, very solemn warning, lol, about this card. You have to be careful when you play it. It's really good, allows you to draw 1 card, but at the end phase of the turn, you have to discard your entire hand. And so you got to be careful, because this is an FTK deck, but sometimes it took me a really long time to figure out this deck and learn how to FTK consistently. If you don't do this right, you're screwed and you're probably going to lose. Just saying. But yeah, so I'll give a more in-depth warning about that next time. So then we've got 3 copies of Magical Mallet. This is quickly becoming one of my favorite cards. It's really straightforward. You can play this card and then you shuffle as many cards in your hand to the deck as you want. So it's more versatile than Reload, and then you draw that same number of cards. Of course, you shuffle in between. It's really good as just a safety net, but even more than that, there are combos that you can do with this card with Thunder Dragon that I'll talk about when I actually play the deck. The next thing, of course, Pot of Duality. This is the only other place I really get stuck in this deck, is that you can only play 1 of these per turn. If it's an FTK deck, do you really need this? So, I mean, you could always take this out, maybe side in something like Dark World Dealings or something like that. You can be the judge, but at least 1 is a must in this deck. It increases consistency. 2, it's an FTK deck. You don't really need 2. The 2 is just to make sure you draw it and you draw it quickly. Cool. Then of course the gold. The infamous, I should say, Toon Table of Contents. Toon Table of Contents allows you to add 1 card with Toon in its name. And oh, look, Toon Table of Contents has Toon in its name, therefore you can search itself. You got 3 of these, of course the last one searches the Blue Eyes Toon Dragon, but I'll get into more of that in the second part of the video. Then next you're going to have 3 copies of Cards of Consonance. These ones you use in conjecture with White Stone of Legend, and then obviously it allows you to get a Blue Eyes as well with White Stone of Legend's effect, so that's good. Then of course, just absolute staple, Upstart Goblin. No need to explain it. Get 3 of these, they're a must-have, really nice draw card. Then you've got 3 trade-ins. Same thing. Just like with Cards of Consonance, you're going to use this in conjecture with the Blue Eyes White Dragons, or if you've already done the Toon Table of Contents combo, then you can use the Toon Blue Eyes with the trade-in. Last but not least, well, actually, no, there's one more. So you've got your 2 hand destructions. These guys are really, really important. They're good as safety nets. You can use it with almost any card in the deck. Like, there are some cards you don't want to use it with. I'll explain those later. But like, they're really good. Like I said, this deck has 2 Pot of Dualities. If I've already played one, the second one's a dead draw. I don't need it. I can use it as fodder for this guy. So that's good. Other things like that. When you've done the Thunder Dragon combo twice, the last Thunder Dragon's dead, so you can use it as fodder. Different things like that. And then if worse comes to worse, you can use other cards too, but you shouldn't. Last but not least, 1 Day of Peace. I really hate that it's at 1. I wish it was at 3. That would have meant that you had at least 3 turns to stall in case that it didn't FTK. But like I said, I'm very, very confident that it will FTK, and I'm actually going to show you guys here in a moment. But that'll be in part 2. I'll try and link to it, but I just started getting into like doing multiple YouTube videos, so I might have trouble. I might just have to put a link to it below it instead of doing the fancy thing that they guys do nowadays. But yeah, so that's my Exodia FTK deck. I'm not the first one to come up with the concept for it. I suppose you could say it's kind of original just because, like, with the cards taken out, you've got to find substitutes. But I mean, the core of the deck, it's kind of, I wouldn't say old school, but it's kind of standard out there. Like, there are only a couple formats of an Exodia deck, FTK, and this is one of them. I actually like this one. But yeah, so like I said, this is MaleficYugiTuber. If you liked the video, go ahead and subscribe. Like I said, I didn't come up with this. If you want to take it, all of it, I don't care. Use it, go ahead, go out and win. Win, baby, win, like Snoop Dogg says in that one song. Yeah, so go ahead and do that. I don't mind. I hope you use it. If you liked the video, please like. If you liked it a whole bunch, please subscribe. And as always, please look at my other videos. Thank you guys so much. Have an amazing day. Adios.